and welcome into our Form Champions Day special, where we look forward to, of course, the NZB Kiwi and the 3 Group 1s on the program, and that's just a few, and what is one of the best days in racing. And because of that, we've got the full team right up here in studio, and firstly, Bevan Sweeney, what a day to look forward to.
Good morning, Pip. Morning, boys. Wasn't it a great start to the morning with the Kiwis into another final in the T20 World Cup, and it is final day for all the trainers on Saturday with the Kiwi and all the great action across the program. Really looking forward to it, and track will be in great nick, and it's sort of the finale for the season, really.
It certainly is, and obviously as a trainer and a jockey and an owner, you want to be on course on Saturday.
Yeah, you do, and I think, you know, we've got the star factor there this year as well with Well Written. She's going to be the one who brings them in. She's unbeaten. She was brilliant last time out in her lead-up, and all eyes will be on her and that NZB Kiwi, but as the boys have said, that undercard's super. That Bone Crusher New Zealand Stakes is one I'm really looking forward to at Weight for Age. We've got some good Weight for Age horses at the moment.
Yeah, we really do. It's a mouth-watering program. So let's have a look what is coming up. We've got plenty to discuss on our 90-minute special. We'll be starting with the feature, the NZB Kiwi. And, of course, it is Derby Day as well. On the undercard, we'll be discussing that Group 1 Bone Crusher along with the Sistema Stakes. Then we'll be having a look at our Black Bookers, the Ellerslie undercard. Well, there's so much to discuss there. Of course, we've got New Plymouth on Saturday as well. Then our usual segments, including our best bets to round out the show. So let's get stuck into it. Of course, the feature meeting is at Ellerslie, and earlier on in the week, Emily caught up with Craig Baker to see how the track will be playing.
Yeah, the track this morning will be a soft 5. We had 11 horses gallop on it this morning, including the NZB Kiwi favourite, Well Written, who galloped really well. So yeah, we'll just monitor that track, monitor our irrigation plan through the week. The rail goes out 3 metres from where it was at our last meeting on 21st of February, just to cover that wear from that day. Yeah, it's got a beautiful solar grass. The verti draining finished on Friday, so yeah, all set for what should be a great day. We're likely to clear a soft 5 in the morning and be up to a 4 pretty early on.
What's the weather like meant to do in the build-up to Saturday from here on in? It's
definitely cooled off. Even this morning you can certainly feel the autumn feel in the air, but it's no rain, which is really good. So hopefully it'll be a significant contrast to the lead-up to Caracas.
Great quality horses looking to be engaged on Saturday. You must be pretty happy with how Champions Day is coming together.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, it's named for that reason, isn't it? We have all the best horses in New Zealand racing on the same day, and it just generates great excitement. We've got the mix of having, you know, 6 or 7 Australian horses, including 2 of Chris Waller's, which will gallop on Saturday, and they've got the Kiwi horses, and we've got 4 Aussie riders as well.
Okay, so that's how the track should be playing come Saturday. So we start with the feature, the NZB Kiwi, race number 9 on the program. The all-important barrier draw was done on Tuesday. Obviously, Well Written, Bevan drawing beautifully. She's your 120 favourite, and then maybe it's just a case of trying to find runners to play behind her.
Oh, absolutely. There's no meat on the bone there, but neither there should be at $1.20. She's been the rock star. Just go back and watch her last start performance. It was off the charts. Belchevelle's going nicely. Becomes a case of trying to find top 3, top 4 players, but it's hard to see her being beaten. I think He Who Dares is probably at a decent sort of quote to run in the money, 23s to win, but hard to see her being beaten, boys. And the speed map for those minor placings is key.
Yeah, certainly on Tuesday night when Dylan Johnson went up and got number 2, there was a few happy faces, and I'd say Dylan's probably in line for a little bit of a holiday.
Or a bonus, one or the other, isn't it?
Look, from barrier 2, it gives Matt so many options. He can jump out and lead. If they're going too hard, he can take a set. He can stay 1 off the rail. Obviously, affirmative action, barrier 3, gets blinkers on this week for the first time. So does War Princess. So there might be a little bit more speed in it than we think.
Yeah, the interesting things are the 2 drawn out wide is He Who Dares and Asakura. Potentially, they might have to roll forward enough to cross them both, whichever way it goes, especially if Zivu kicks up and Well Written sits on that horse's outside, then she's going to get one of the runs of the race as well.
And obviously, Belchevelle, she's come up with barrier 11, but she's a back marker anyway.
Okay, so that's what the team are thinking. The speed will be in the race. Now, if you're going to pick up the race form this week, you will find the star filly on the cover, Well Written, as she gets ready for Champions Day. So make sure you do pick up your edition. And we'll now catch up with her trainer, Stephen Marsh. She was at Ellerslie on Monday where she had a track gallop, and Emily caught up with him and just asked him what he took out of it.
Yeah, really happy with her gallop. She worked over 1,200 metres in company. Similar to what we did going into the Caracas Mile. I thought her work was as good, maybe even better. She's pulled up well. She's not worried about too much. She's only galloped 10 minutes ago, and she's already dried off and and happy. So look, that'll be a final sort of solid piece of work. I might just breeze her up maybe 600 on Thursday. That's probably all she'll need. But I think she's right on top of her game, and she's going just the way we want.
You've had her races nicely spaced, sort of 5 weeks between runs. She must be a horse that's pretty clean-winded.
Very, very clean-winded, and that's why we haven't had to do much. I always had sort of a trial up our sleeve if we needed one going into this, but just didn't feel she needed one. You know, you give her a quiet week, then you can breeze her up, and she barely blows. She's had a little blow this morning, but you know, and her wind cleans up fast. So no, she's pretty easy to train. I wish we had more like her.
She looked pretty good there in the track gallop as we take you back to her winning the 3-year-old Karaka Millions. And we already knew how good she was, but boy, did she stamp herself this day. This was sensational swings.
It's one of the better performances I've seen in recent times, really. And I think the fact that if there's going to be a lot of speed in this race, is her high cruising speed. She sits on tempo doing absolutely nothing. But the last part of this race, it sort of hairs up on the back of your neck. I couldn't see anything turning the tables on her out of this particular race. Bad luck would have to come into play, but it's one of the better performances I've seen in recent times.
Exactly. The thing is, Matt's got so much confidence in her as well. Not saying that she's push button, but when he goes for her, she's got the turn of foot that you want. And look, she only needs an ounce of luck. Confidence goes a long way. Obviously, she's $1.20. There's a bit of pressure on, but I'd rather be sitting there with confidence and a bit nervous on a $1.20 shot any day of the week.
Well, he's got it right every time, you know, and he's just showing patience, and she was brilliant. She was simply incredible that day. That was a breathtaking performance, and she's clearly superior on that. Just looking at the ones in behind, obviously in the Auckland Guineas, you know, He Who Dares was pretty close. It's not far away, and then she's gone out and beaten him at 6. He was pretty good in that race as well, so maybe he is one of the biggest dangers, but something would have to go wrong with her, right?
Affirmative action, he was really disappointing. He was flat at the 700. I don't know what was wrong with him. Obviously, he gets blinkers on this week. Look, he probably can't turn the tables, but I think he's got to be improved
got the
the
ability.
race.
I just think we're looking outside that race to find something to beat her. I mean, I think she's got all the traits of a really good horse, hasn't she? You can take advantage of good draws, you can sit back and come across the top of them. Look, it was breathtaking. It was simply breathtaking, and she doesn't know she's under pressure, right?
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't know that it's trying to be 6 from 6 or 7 from 7. She's just going out and doing her job.
Yeah.
Like, Matt should get the job done. He should definitely get the job done.
OK, well, stable will certainly be hoping they can take her down as Te Akau. They've got a 4-pronged attack, and Aidan did catch up with Mark Walker. Starts with Belle Chevelle and asked how she's progressed since her last start.
No, really good. Her work was super Saturday morning on the running rail before the races, and she's just going to do a little bit of work on Wednesday. So, no, she's in good form.
Yep, she's come through the run to your satisfaction there?
Yep, no, really good. So, and she's got a good record at Ellerslie, but as I say, the favourite's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah. He Who Dares has got close to her in the past as well. How has he progressed since we saw him last?
Yeah, really good. He's just had a tick-over trial at Taupo, and no, he was good there, but good draw sort of helps him. He gets himself up on the speed, and no, he's in good form, but he'll need to be.
Lara going into this, obviously she ran so well, you know, in all these big ones in the past. What about her? How's she leading in?
No, she seems in really good form, and it was good to see her bounce back at Wellington, and she won a respectable race in the 3-year-old Karaka Mile. But yeah, same thing. She needs to find a couple of lengths to beat the favourite.
Okay, and you've snuck to Brave Reborn into one of the final slots, and you can take encouragement out of what he's been doing late in his races too, can't you?
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of room up the inside the other day, so yeah, a bit of a question mark, I suppose, at 1500, but you can't win it if you're sitting in the box, that's for sure.
You can't, as we take you to the Uncle Remus here, where obviously Belle Chevelle was very good, beating a handful of contenders, and Legla Noir was that real eye-catcher in behind.
Yeah, well, she stepped up to go over further and get better. I think this filly, she's by Savabeel out of a keeper mare. So the further the better, so she'll improve with the next 100 metres and probably further than Saturday. She'll have to be camped as close as she can with Mickey D aboard to the favourite to take advantage of a good turn of foot. She's a quality horse, and look, she's clearly the second pick in the race in many's mind.
Yeah, certainly. And obviously, if they go too hard up front, she's going to get back from the barrier 11. Mick D on, she loves Ellerslie. Panthers closing 200 metre sectional was the best in the race. And obviously, Lara was very unlucky, probably should have run second.
Yeah, just in traffic when he needed a clear run, and even afterwards, speaking to Jock, I think it was Matt Cartwright who rode that day, said that he actually thought he could actually won it with a clear run. So that says something. Panther was pretty good there, but Belcheval's doing everything right. She's obviously placed in a Group 1 1,000 guineas as well, chasing home Well Written and Lollapalooza. But she does look to, in a race where there's a lot of speed, she's probably one who can capitalise from getting back.
You just don't want to be getting held up from back. If you get held up in this race against Well Written, you've no chance. It's game, set, match. So she'll need a perfect sort of run into the race. Maybe find the back of something going forward.
No pressure. Well, let's have a look now at the Australian trained raider in Asakura. Comes out of the CS Hayes in behind 60s last start. Aidan, what do you make of this performance?
Pretty good, and here's a horse who's done absolutely nothing wrong so far. Has had those 4 starts for a couple of wins, couple of minor placings. This was a step up. The previous form had only been in really lower grade stuff, but this was up to Group 3 company, and the effort was handy. Barrier 14, it's a killer blow, really, isn't it?
Well, it is a little bit on-speed sort of horse. That 60s outside, obviously 60s ran 4th to Observer last week, and if 60s was in this race, he'd run a clear second favourite.
Yeah, that was the Australian Guineas last time, so Group 1. So the form's stacking up okay.
Oh, I think the horse is probably the interesting runner into the race, and probably is some sort of speed map player that might just change it up. Pretty tough sort of effort behind a good horse. So if they go forward with Asakura and put itself, and why wouldn't they actually have a crack at going forward and putting it in the
only
race?
thing I would say, right-handed first start.
Yeah, that could be a negative around Asakura, but great to see the Aussies here.
If He Who Dares goes forward from 13, then he can probably get a drag across from 14. So that's maybe a little bit of upside for what is a tricky barrier draw.
OK, well, it's time for selections, and I think there's an obvious filly in this race, Bevan.
Yeah, well, I said last time I'm not stupid enough to go against Well Written, having done a lot of stupid stuff in my time, but Well Written, mate, guys, it was a wow moment last start. She's got to repeat. If she repeats, she wins.
Yeah, if I'm Matt Cartwright, I'd just go and see the owners, go and sit in a nice seat and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. she won by 6 last time. There's no reason why she couldn't win this by even more. So I think we're going to see a filly that we can just really appreciate what she's going to show us on
Sounds
Saturday.
as though you'll just hand over your jockey's percentage as well. If he's just go sit and relax, you don't need that either.
I don't think I said that.
I was going to say that.
Just sit back and enjoy the ride.
No surprise, he was very quiet there. OK, let's move to the Group 1 for the 3-year-olds, and it is the New Zealand Derby. Looking forward to this, of course, sponsored this year by the Hong Kong Jockey Club World Pool. And you can see Autumn Glory, $4.20 favourite here with I Hope He Wins coming out of the race. That's gold at 5s, Road to Paris at $6. Bevan, what did you make of the market?
Oh, I think it's a very even race. Yulong now have the top 2 in the market, don't they? And they've bought the top 2 3-year-olds really in the country, and they've got That's Gold through the week with Chris Wood. I do think there is a little bit of value in this race. I do like Luna Man. I was with it last time. I think there's some really good money on a horse who'll run 2,400 metres, and I'll give you one later on at a big price maybe to run in the top 4. But it's a hard race to met, lads.
It certainly is. Look, Sam rode a perfect race last start on That's Gold. Comes up with perfect gate again, gate 4. So look, I had That's Gold to either lead at a sort of just an even tempo or sit outside leader. Maybe Geneva from the inside draw. Obviously, Taylor Square, Halo's 5 is going to go forward. And I thought, those back markers, Road to Paris, probably they have to ride them back a little bit quiet.
Exactly. A horse like Genki ran so well in the Avondale Guineas, I think they'll be as positive as they can. I thought they'd probably try and be positive with Towering Vision from a wide gate. And then it's a question around Autumn Glory, Ariadne. They're both drawn tricky gates. What do they do, Lee?
Yeah, you got a long run down the home straight. So, look, they're going to find a spot. Just the only question I had was the lack of tempo in the race.
Yeah.
OK, well, now let's hear from Autumn Glory's co-trainer, and Rob Wellwood, and Aidan just asked him how she's come through her last start performance.
Yeah, exactly. Her last 2 starts in particular have been impressive. She stepped up. She beat the boys in the Waikato Guineas, and then the Oaks we saw that she certainly runs a mile and a half. So she goes into the race in terrific order. She's just worked earlier and couldn't be happy with her.
Yeah, just tell us about the work for all 3 this morning. What have you asked of them in training here today?
Yeah, they both, all 3 worked just over, a bit further than around. Just came nice 3/4 and had a nice hit out to the line. All 3 were very good, so at this stage right on track.
On Autumn Glory, how much has she pleased you since the Oaks?
Well, yeah, she's been really good. We sort of kept a very open mind with both fillies as to what we do, but the way they've come through it, they've eaten, had a day off, and then they're barking their brands off again. So it's given us confidence to press forward, and work this morning has given us confidence that we haven't made the wrong call.
Yep. But Ariadne was also in the Oaks. What did you make of her run?
Thought the run was good. She got sort of knocked around a little bit at the top of the straight, just didn't get a momentum, but she was good to the line. She again we know goes a mile and a half, and I think if she gets an uninterrupted run and a bit of a soft run, she's going to be right amongst them.
Road to Paris comes through the boys' races in a different path, but seems to be going just as well. What did you make of his run the other day?
Yeah, just frustrating. He's clearly got a lot of ability. He may not have won the other day, but he would have been very close to that's gold. He got back, but then he just did things wrong, So he's got the side blinkers on now. He's worked nicely, and then we've just got to hope that come race day that really straightens him up. He's got the ability to win the race, but first things first, he's got to do things right.
Let's take you back to the Group 1 New Zealand Oaks. So start with Autumn Glory, and it's at this point where Wiremu Pin's just got to bring her out to the open, and she was very good behind, obviously, an impressive I Hope He Wins.
I think they're all lucky that I Hope He Wins is not in the derby. These are two really good runs. Obviously, they're backing up 2 weeks' time. They're proven at 2,400 metres. Just the gate's a little bit niggly for both of them, but they're definitely top 4 chances.
I Hope He Wins was brilliant, and has obviously reeled off all the best sectionals. Autumn Glory's run the second quickest. Just that barrier draw's a little bit niggly for her, but she couldn't have done any more. She'd won the Waikato Guineas really nicely as well. So, the more I went through the form, the more I think she's bringing the yardstick form. Just the real query is just how much work she has to do early from a wide gate.
Oh, she was the second best run in the race, and you look across the ditch, and I Hope He Wins is well specced in all the markets that she might be heading to. So the form stacks up beautifully. Look, the Dixon's got a decent sort of record in the derby with the James and Wellwood team and Ariadne. So I think there's a bit of confidence she'll run well over 2,400 metres. It has to be this yardstick form line going forward.
Another year-long purchase, though, was That's Gold after taking out the Avondale Guineas. Let's hear from Chris Wood and see how he's come through that performance.
Really good, Aiden. He's jumping out of his skin, worked super this morning, and couldn't be happier.
What did you ask of him in training today?
He worked over 1,600 metres at half pace, 14 3/4, and strode home over 600 and just on 37 and with his head on his chest. So, really happy.
Yeah, can you compare that to his work leading into the Guineas?
Much the same, Aiden. Yeah, he's on the right leg at the moment. Everything's going good.
Yeah, was there room for improvement coming out of the Guineas, or is he pretty much at the same level?
Pretty much at the same level. It's sort of hard to say there's improvement after the way he won last time, and the sprint he put in from the top of the straight wasn't quite incredible. Yeah. So, sectionals are good, and really happy.
It must give you real encouragement heading into to Derby to see him round off an Avondale Guineas like that in his final lead up.
Very much so, and Sam was thrilled with the way he found the line, and she said took a lot of pulling up, so really good.
What are you thinking going into this Derby? Where are your expectations at, Chris?
Pretty high, Aiden. Look, I'm very confident he'll go the 2,400 metres. He's not really bred to. I think his fifth dam's got some title light, and that's probably the only staying form on the page. But hey, he doesn't know who his mum and dad are, so yeah.
Well, that was the question with this race as well, but he certainly showed them he could see out the 2,100 metres. He didn't just win. I mean, he put away a nice field here.
Yeah, obviously he's got to go up another 300 metres, but look, his closing sectionals, he's come home 11.9, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. And he just maps to get a nice, easy run in the race.
Yeah.
It gives Sam so many options from that draw. He could be the natural leader, he can sit off, he can take a trail. Look, I thought this was a pretty good track.
Yeah.
He likes the track, and he's won easy.
He's really killed them there.
Yeah.
That's I think the most. It was a dominant win, and like you say, he was stepping up in distance, but he still went up to run the quickest last 200 of the race, second quickest last 400. So it does suggest that he's going to go there. You've got those little queries on breeding about how he sees it out, but he was very good. The only thing against him, maybe it was an on-pace race, and for that reason, I think you've really got to give a lot of kudos to Road to Paris, who was very good in second, and there were a few down the back that were real head scratches. What went on with Towering Vision. Luna Man was pretty good, reeled off very good sectionals, and Yamato Satono as well. Genki was okay from closer to the speed, looked beaten, and then came back really strongly, so looks like an out-and-out stayer, but you know, on the video evidence there, geez, that score's going to take some beating.
I was blown away. This horse paid $12 and it was probably all around, oh, he's not going to stay, he won't get the trip, rada. Look, he blew them off the racetrack. I like what Chris says. I don't know who their parents are. They're only going up against their own age group, and I think he'll run the trip out perfectly, and he's got the right draw to do what he does, which is put himself somewhere there and run home nicely. I was with Luna Man that day. I'm going to be with Luna Man, I think, again. I think that horse would have run second from last. I don't know if you can call a horse doofus, but he's just one of those horses that sits at the back and he's like, he doesn't really know how to gather himself yet or anything.
Taking after you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, but I wouldn't want a derby. To be fair.
He gets side blinkers on this week and a tongue tie, so like his sections in the race were the fastest 806.
Yeah, and he was only just getting into top gear as he got to the 200 metre.
And you consider what he was doing in the Waikato Guineas as well when he was he worked overtime in that race and still ran a really creditable race.
All right, well, you mentioned Towering Vision was a head scratcher. Let's hear from Mark Walker how he assessed his Guineas run.
Oh no, he was very disappointing, and plain's a bit of an understatement, but we've had horses do that before for whatever reason. Our veterinary team checked him out, we couldn't find nothing, so we're just going to push on. His work this morning was really good on the course proper, so I hope he stuck with him, so deserves another chance.
I hope he was a little bit disappointed with his own ride, I think, that day as well. Said maybe got a bit far back and was maybe shades of Willie Do It last year, did bounce back into a derby success. Can you draw correlations there?
Well, I hope he must have thought he deserved another chance, or he would have got offered so many rides. So, yeah, he's stuck with the ship, so you just got to take him on trust.
And the trust is, you go back a couple of starts, his run at the Waikato Guineas was first class, wasn't it? Can that sort of form, can he bounce back to it for this weekend?
Yeah, well, we've had horses, as I say, in the past do it for whatever reason, and then you just got to push on sometimes and be brave and just keep going, and that's what we're doing.
And you cast your mind back a year ago, Aidan, and Willie Do It, obviously putting in that run in the Avondale Guineas.
So there certainly must give the connections of Towering Vision hope, because prior to that he was good. He won the 3-year-old 1600 metre race on New Year's Day, which Orchestral and Willie Do It both won leading into the Derby, which they both won as well. So, and his run in behind Autumn Glory in the Waikato Guineas was full of merit. So
I think you must be watching your wrong TV, because his run was nothing like Willie Do It last year.
No, exactly.
You're watching the wrong channel.
We're just saying that he got beaten.
He's got to improve 10 lengths.
That's one of your best ones so far.
He's got to improve 10 lengths out of that run. Look, I don't have doubt that the Tiake horses can turn him around, but I can't have him winning this week.
I do agree with you, actually, a length around that. Look, I don't think you can follow him into the race after what he did last start. I didn't think the ride was overly bad, and he doesn't really have any excuses, really. Blinkers on might change him around, that could happen, but not for me this year.
All right, you've already alluded who you're going with, Swing, but remind us.
Look, I think Donnie Frampton can win with Luna Man. I've been impressed the whole way through. I think this horse is only starting to sort of get towards top gear when it was blocked at Ellerslie and behind them. He'll be a hard ride for Craig. He'll have to get to work on this horse probably quite away from home, but I think he'll just keep winding up and run strongly through the 2400 metres. So I'm with the $12 of Luna Man.
Look, I was tossing up, obviously, Roger James is the Derby king. They've got 3 good chances. Just the barrier draws came out and it's going to make them tough. So I'm going for the Yulong trained runner, Chris Woods. That's gold. I thought it was overs at $6. He's coming into the market, and you'd be happy being those owners, because they've already won the Derby twice.
And they've got a great chance with Autumn Glory as well. And that's where I've landed after going through it. I just think her form's probably superior. Waikato Guineas, terrific runner behind, a star filly and a Hoppy wins in the New Zealand Oaks. So, yeah, I'm going to land there. So, ain't you sort of alluded to one maybe at a bigger price?
Look, listen, Wigmore was so disappointing on Sunday at Whanganui. I thought it would win for fun. I think Kevin might have just said, Carly, we need to change this up a fraction through the week. I heard the work on Friday was outstanding. This horse will stay all day. I think it's around 750 top 4. Happy enough to have a little play on Wigmore, but it is from the CD.
OK, CD proud. All right, from there, that takes us to a break. Don't go far, though. Plenty more Champions Day to discuss. Pleasure to have your company on the form, and we're concentrating in on Champions Day out of Ellerslie, and we're taking a look now at the Group 1 Bone Crusher Stakes. So race number 6 on the program, where Legato, off the back of her Group 1 Herbie Dyke win, is your favourite at 360, just slightly from Kingswood and Pierre at 390. And look, I suppose you have to say Jaffe, with what she did last time, Bevan, is at a really good price.
Yeah, Tens is great on her. There's not a lot of meat on the bone across the top 3, I don't think. Whitek, we know how good he is. He hasn't quite produced it. Provence just continually sort of gets disrespected in the market. I know she's up over ground. And Dr. Escar, who would doubt the doctor, he's at $27. But there's not a lot of meat, the top 3. There might be a little bit of meat further down the field, boys.
Look, it's certainly a tricky start up at 2,000 metres at Ellerslie. I found it a really hard race to map. There's no speed. No. Dr. Escar from Barrier 2, do you lead? Maybe Pierre goes forward in Kingswood. No clear leader for me.
That is exactly the way I had it as well. So, I thought it was probably Dr. Escar or Pierre. I think they can either be, they can choose what they do with Kingswood, but there's going to be sort of definite advantages by getting forward. I thought Legato could actually even end up in the trail from here, but it makes it tricky with no speed.
Yeah,
in the
obviously
race.
Opie will be positive, and Jaffe's one of those horses. They can't push her out of the gates because she over races.
Let's hear from Ken Calso first and see how Legato has done since the Herbie Dyke.
No, it's done very good, Aidan. We took her up to Avondale Guineas Day, Ellerslie, and had an exhibition gallop, and Opie rode her and was very happy. Said she felt good around Ellerslie, which, as you know, she hasn't gone the best at times, but he said she changed legs and did everything right, and her work was good. So, no, she's progressed nicely since then, and her work this morning was really, really good. Opie was really stoked with the work.
Yep. What did you ask her in training today, Ken?
She worked with Lavakia. They worked on the big #1 sand, where she's done all her work, and they worked away from the mile and increased all the way and came home in about 30, 35 and a half, 36. So no, it was really nice work, and Opie's comment was that her work today was superior to what it was before the Herbie Dyke. So no, we're very happy.
Well, if she's working better than this, that's a very good form, because she was brilliant this day getting past the likes of Kingswood. When she let down underneath Opie, she was sensational left.
Yeah, she was certainly the forgotten horse in the race as well. The thing I like about her, she looks a lot better to me left-handed than right-handed. I know she's gone some really good races at Ellerslie. She's yet to win, but it seems that her and Opie do click a bit.
Yeah, and obviously the exhibition gallop was very good. Opie very happy with the way she worked around Ellerslie, and that gives you the encouragement there. And then we hear from Ken about that she's working even better than what she was going into this. However, Kingswood seemed to be a little bit underdone going into that Herbie Dyke Stakes. It was Boxing Day into the 7th of February, so 6 weeks. This time it's 4 weeks, and by all accounts, his work on Monday out of Ellerslie first class. So he could turn the tables. The other one in that race was the Odyssey, who was very good at 2,000 metres. Normally he's showing his best to be passing.
And he loves the course at Ellerslie as well. He's had 2 wins there from 4 starts. So.
Look, she was great the other day, and it was great to see a good mare back in form. No doubt about that. Sort of came into it nicely. And mares, once they get in form, they generally hold it. And she had been a little bit below par. I don't think there's any question about that, so it was good to see a bit. Look, Dr. Escar beat her 2 starts ago in a Group 1. There's 27 and 390. I mean, I'm not sure if that's
There's a 7 kilogram swing. There's a 7 kilogram swing.
Yeah, I agree. There is a 7 kilogram, but she still beat her in a Group 1, and it's 27 and 390. So what per dollar do you get per kilo?
Yeah, well, I couldn't see Dr. Escar beating Legato on what we've seen from Legato.
Look, from Barrier 2, he's going to have a nice, easy lead. He has won at Ellerslie before, so he gets around the track okay as well, but I can't.
The unfortunate thing for Dr. Escar as well, obviously, he was there to run in that Herbie Dyke Stakes. He had the incident on the truck where he skinned a bit of, come off his leg, and that was a shame. But now it means he goes into that without having run since the Thorndon Mile as well, and then comes in with the weight swing on a Group 1 winning mare.
Oh, I'll ring Waverley and tell them you're sort of doubting your training ability to get them up for 2,000 metres. I think Joanne and the team around here, Isaac, they might be in sort of argument, but we'll see.
Right, I'm jumping in here. Let's hear from Kingswood's jockey and Rory Hutchings. Emily caught up with him on Monday. Just asked how he's going.
Yeah, he's going super. I was hoping he'd take improvement out of the run from Te Rapa. He's had 2 solid gallops since, and He's certainly taken that improvement, I feel, in his work, so really happy going into Saturday.
He looks really willing in his work, quite aggressive, that he really wants to get the job done.
Yeah, he certainly makes me work. But no, I've had a lot to do with him since he's been in New Zealand, and this is probably the best he's been going. He's already proven he loves Ellerslie, so yeah, really looking forward to him.
I guess Ellerslie's a good point because he does come back here, and that's got to be a plus.
Yeah, for sure. I think more just a surface, it always has that little bit of cushion which he likes, and he can spring off that.
From there, another contender is Pierre, and he almost got the job done last start at Ellerslie. Let's hear from Briar how he's done since.
Yep, he's done really well. Really happy with how he's done. We sort of just give him a quiet week like we did last time in between runs. Obviously 2-week turnaround, so he's pretty fit, doesn't need to do much. So, like, he's been bouncing around, really full of himself, and really happy with him.
What about today? What did you ask of him in training this morning?
Yeah, he just worked over a little bit of ground on the plough with the suitable mate. Michael McNabb came over and rode him, and he's very happy with him. He said he's going well. He feels like he's improved since his last run at Ellerslie, so he's in a good frame of mind, and we're really happy heading into Saturday.
Yeah, third up. Is this his peak run?
Yeah, I feel like it is. He's had the 2 runs now, and obviously both been 2-week turnarounds, so like I say, he's pretty fit. He's really tightened up in conditions, so I think he's really forward, and he's at the place we want him to be heading into Saturday.
Let's take you to the Otaki Māori Classic here, and yes, he almost got the job done second up here, but Jaffe, I mean, she was just so good too, finally got the run in the race she needed.
He was in front a long way from home. They went for the doctor before the corner, and I think that probably cost them late. I hope they get a nice sit, get a little bit of cover. You know, we go back through this horse's performance in Australia overground last season. There's no Via Sistema in this particular race. Yeah. I thought he was massively brave. Gets held up for just a quieter run. Well, I made a statement a few weeks ago, so I can't really back out of my peer statement now. I think he's going well. You
expected Al Vencedor, on the way he'd gone at Te Rapa, to carry him into the race a little bit further, but he dropped out on the bend, and that just left Pierre exposed. The run was very good, but you got to give credit to Jaffe on what she's done. Like, she's been so good the whole time at Group 1 level. She kept on stepping up. She's so willing in the chase as well. She was super unlucky a couple of starts back, and her rest of her form's been top notch. You can't pot it.
Look, I was talking to Lance Noble, and she missed a little bit of work going into that race. She was caught 3 wide, and then Warren actually rode a good race down the straight. He got a bit of cover and he came out late, and obviously Pierre was exposed early. Michael was only having his second race day ride back from an injury, so. It's a good form race. Provence was very good out of the race. Fastest 800, 600, 400 and 2. Obviously, she's stepping up to 2,000 for the first time, but from barrier 6, she's got to be on your ticket somewhere.
Well, in a race without any real speed in there, she's going to get a soft run, so it's going to run a little bit more like 1,600 metres, I think. So,
and I think Waitek may have just needed to run a little bit.
Yeah. He's just been left flat-footed when they've gone in both his last 2. The one thing, he just does need to get him out, but we'll hear from the team very shortly. They have sort of made some sort of changes to try and get that happening.
Yeah, well, it's a race where there's no standout, as it should be in a Group 1, Bevan. So who's the one for you?
Well, I said I thought Pierre would win a Group 1 in his next 3 starts, and we almost got the job done last time. I'm going to stick with the ship. What he did in Australia last preparation was outstanding. I think there's been credit in both of his runs clearly coming up to this point. Like, Wait for Age doesn't worry him. Big, strong horse. Michael McNabb getting into the sort of flow of things now really, really nice. So I'm with Pierre again.
Yeah, it's obviously an even race. I can't find... There's not going to be too much speed in the race. If Jaffe jumps out, relaxes, we're not going to get the 23s like last time, Rod? But look, at $10 and $2.80, I'm happy to play her each way.
Geez, I think there's just some great depth to this race. It's a terrific Wait for Age field. I've gone with Legato. She comes in with the Wait for Age winner out of the Herbie Dyke last time out. I think she gets the trail, and from there she should be potent, especially hearing how well she's prepared for it this week. Real respect around the likes of Kingswood and Jaffe and Pierre, but yeah, I've said it on Legato. And just going back, we're not going to play that obviously, but you can get it on the track work report. Lance just saying that, you know, they've jumped a few tyres and they've really tried to spark Waitek, and it sounds like he's responded okay.
Okay, it's a really good race. So from that one, though, we are going to take you to the 2-year-olds now for the Sistema Stakes as we take a look at the market. It is Lara Antipova who leads the Group 1 at $1.70. She's already backed in a point from $1.75 just in case, and behind it $4.20 and taking out the slipper last start. And then Harvey Wallbanger at $8.50. I mean, she is the deserved favourite here, Bevan, unbeaten in 3.
Yeah, and This is one case where I think $1.75, $1.70 is okay. I think she stands out that far above a lot of these. Just in Case might be a big upsetter, but even when I was mapping it and the boys are going to go through it now, I think she's just going to hit the sweetest of spots. And her turn of foot's been quite elite.
It has. Obviously, she's the benchmark 2-year-old of them all so far by quite a margin. From barrier 4, she just maps to get a beautiful run in the race. Look, I'd be sort of happy with $1.70. Obviously, lesser field from barrier 1, Bruno on, just in case, bit of speed in the race. But from barrier 4, Mick D's having his first ride on the filly, but she's just going to get a perfect run in the race.
You'd think that she just slots into a 1-1 there with Lassified and Just in Case. You've got State of Valor and Parfait de Montre who probably head forward from wider out. Liguria could end up with a trail if they wanted to really push and hold a position, but Lara Antipova is going to get one of the runs.
I think they have to go back from barrier 10 on Harvey Warbanger as well.
Okay, well, let's hear from Lara Antipova's trainer and Mark Walker, and just asked how she's done since her run at Matamata.
No, we've been really happy with her. She also galloped on the running rail on Saturday morning, so she's just going to have a quiet bit of work on Wednesday. Very clean-winded, just a real athletic filly, so no, she's in great form.
She got the big target on her back after that one, but has she done everything to your satisfaction and she's the one to beat?
The market suggests that, but horse racing, funny things can happen, but she's certainly a high-class filly.
Yep. What about her? What are her biggest strengths leading into this weekend?
Well, she's a winner and clean-winded, puts herself in a race, so she's pretty push-button, really.
You've got Out of the Blue, who also comes out of Matamata. How's he done since that run?
Yeah, I don't think he was entirely happy in the ground at Matamata, but he'll need to find a few lengths, but he deserves his chance to be there.
Let's have a look at her in the Matamata breeders. She was very good once again, beating a nice field here, and she probably didn't look that comfortable in the ground, but it just shows her class length.
Yeah, obviously she was dipping and diving a little bit, but look, each of her 3 wins, she's won with plenty in hand. Yeah. Look, she's $1.70 favourite. I'd be happy to take the $1.50 if she shortens. She's just better than these 2-year-olds. She's the benchmark. For barrier 4, Mick D on, there's just no excuses. I just can't see them beating her, really.
Yeah, even accounting for the wet track, that race was over at the 400 the other day.
Yeah, and it was only a small field, but the way she done it, look, Opie was kind to her late in the race, and she was never in doubt.
She ran the quickest first 400 and all the quickest, last 8, 6, 4 and 2. The running behind, I did think Tion Quantra had merit, and maybe on a better track, maybe she gets a little bit closer, because she was brilliant in winning it on debut at Matamata, coming through them, and it trialled really well prior, but I agree with you guys, Lara Antipova's the yardstick.
Will they go to Australia with her close if she wins?
Yes.
There must be... Yep. I know there's some pretty big 2-year-old events upcoming.
I think they're looking at maybe the
2-year-olds in Aussie is strong
So,
at the moment, and they might even set these sights a little bit higher than that.
You've got to remember she's Australian bred, Russian Revolution as well, so look, we'll look at a couple other horses, but they're going to be running for second, sorry to say.
Well, we're going to do that now. Let's hear from Chris Shaler, of course, Just in Case, the winner of the Matamata Slipper, and just see how he's progressed since then.
Yeah, look, he had a really quiet week after that Matamata run, but bounced through it, and he's progressing really well.
What have you asked of him training leading into this weekend?
He just done similar to Convince this morning, just a nice 1,000 there, 3/4 home 600, and he was bouncing off the track, so really happy with him.
Obviously, you've got to take on the fillies this time round. What are you thinking with this race?
Look, I'm just hoping for a barrier draw. He hasn't drawn a gate yet, and then we can worry about that after that. But and excited to see him back on a good track.
Good track, Ellerslie. What is the thinking there? Obviously, it's a little bit different to last time.
Yeah, absolutely. But his first start, he raced on a good 3 at Pukekohe and sat 3 deep and kicked clear at the top of the straight and just got run down late. So not too worried about the good ground. Just hoping for a draw.
What's the gut feel? What were the expectations leading in?
No expectations, but I think he'll be very competitive.
Let's have a look at him in the Matamata Slipper. Obviously a small field, but he was very dominant here. Is he the main danger to you, Bevan?
Let's just say, Banquo needed a horse, and here it is, isn't it, Just in Case? Look, it was a good effort here, but whether we get onto these better track conditions, the other way of going, this horse is going to be able to quicken with Lara Antipova. I wouldn't have any idea, but I suspect not.
Look, I've got to go back to his first up start at Pukekohe right-handed, and he should have won that day. He was caught wide. How good for Chris Shayler, though. You know, he's got 2 runners in on Saturday. One's in the Kiwi and one's in a Group 1 race.
From
so,
3 horses
three
in work.
horses in work. So,
Yeah.
look, it's a great effort by Chris. Yeah, he's a good bloke as well and deserves all of the credit.
Well, if he'd won that day, he'd be going into this unbeaten, just like Lara Antipova, 3 from 3. You know, he's obviously got real upside there. He's got tactical speed and he can kick off it as well.
Yeah, OK. Well, what about Harvey Wallbanger? He just continues to be a bit of a groomsman at the moment. Aidan did catch up with Tony Pike to see how he is.
Yeah, really happy with him. Obviously, we missed the run at Matamata on the wet track, but he had an exhibition gallop on Wednesday at Counties and worked very well. And Michael's just got off him this morning and couldn't be happy with his work heading into Saturday.
What did you ask of him in training today?
He just worked over 1,000 metres in company. He's pretty fit and forward and obviously deep into his preparation, but thriving at the moment, and be nice to finally knock off that bridesmaid's tag on Saturday.
Yeah, what's giving you the confidence that maybe he can go one better?
Oh, look, he's just a 2-year-old that's thrived on it right throughout his preparation, had no soundness issues, and he's a very good 2-year-old, and he's run some good speed figures without winning. So, he's getting very close to knocking one of these big races off.
Let's have a look at him in the Colin Gillings 2-year-old Classic. I mean, he was very good here again, but maybe just beaten by a nicer filly.
Look, he had every chance. He may be better ridden off the speed, and I think they'll do that this week from his barrier 10. Look, there's only one horse you want to be on here, and that was him. And obviously Warren's got the last run at him. I think it's a pretty good form race, though.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Maybe, his best performances have come from further back, but he did look to have that parcelled up. Liguria was good, so too Parfait de Monch into 3rd, but he was probably disappointing more than anything, and he's run a great 2nd in a Group 3 race, but there was so much expectation on it, especially when he had the gun run there. So who knows? He's the 2nd favourite in this for a reason, because he has run some really good races, and he does look capable. Let's just hope that the getting back and running home maybe just changes.
Well, you can see from that track gallop why they rate him so highly. He's got a beautiful flowing action, doesn't he? He covers the ground really, really nice. He just hasn't got the job done in recent times, and he might be standing Lara Antipova 3-4 at the top of the straight, and that's going to be a big.
It's going to come
ask.
down to tempo. If they go really hard and it sets up for a back marker, well, he's got to be the 2nd favourite.
Okay, another contender is Lassified back in the country. Let's take you back to him winning the Ellerslie Stakes. Obviously very good here, beating home Sweetest Thing, but you do go back to the Wakefield, and obviously Lara Antipova had his measure.
Well, absolutely. Look, they punted this day on Lassified and delivered nicely, just a little bit of an on-speed bias in this particular run, and she really hunched down. She's pretty quick over the first 1,000 metres. She kept going this day. Whether she could beat Lara Antipova, I'm not sure. The run at Randwick was pretty good, though.
Yeah, look, it was behind Fireball. He's come out and won another race since then. Look, Bruno Sticks, barrier 1, going to be leading. She's not overly big, but look, she's going to be leading for a long way up that straight.
Yep, not a bad debut effort from Sweetest Thing. Maybe not quite, as good last time when we thought maybe he should have got the job done, but she looks to have upside, and obviously we saw her out of the blue, sort of chasing home. Just in case last time out, his run for 3rd was okay, but Lassified looks like there's a lot of upside and another pace influence in this race as well.
Okay, we need selections. I have a feeling who it'll be. Sweens, who are you with?
We'll keep it simple. I think the $1.75, $1.70 is okay. Lara Antipova gets the 1-1. Will be, well, she's got the elite turn of foot we've seen to this point.
Yeah, look, she's a benchmark, and I know the stable rated pretty highly of the 2-year-olds that they've had in the past, so that tells you something. Barrier 4, I'm happy with the $1.70.
Yeah, she hasn't been tested so far, so maybe something tested this time out, but who knows, she might just have a whole lot more in reserve yet.
Yeah, we could find out on Saturday as we now move to the trackside Auckland Cup, race number 7 on the program, and we've got Braden Star as the favourite at $4.40, and then you've got Rosso at $6, Paradise Storm at $6, and Age of Sail at $10. You're a man that loves value, Sweens. You see any there?
Well, this race is just a headache. It really is a headache. Braden Star was very good last start, and a nice effort from a good stable. Rosso's been flying. We haven't seen him since Trenton, but there's a few in that boat. Just Charlie will be getting fitter. Trev was great in the Wellington Cup. Menzel Blue won the Wellington Cup with no really luck in the run. So, you could pick 6, 7 in this race and miss, I reckon.
Yeah, look, it's a really good, strong field. Obviously, Braden Star was really good last start. And like you said, like it's a full field. It's probably... you know, more numbers in one field than there is at Taranaki on Saturday, Bevan.
The love on this, yeah. Well, let's just go to, of course, Brenton Horton and see how Braden Starr has done since the Avondale Cup.
Yeah, look, fantastic run. Obviously, he's had the benefit of having a run in Sydney. I think he enjoyed getting back on that leg for sure. And yeah, look, game run. There was a little while between runs. He'd had a tick over jump out back in Cranbourne before he came over. But yeah, look, he came through that run enormous, to be honest. Galloped well here this morning, so couldn't be happier and looking forward to the weekend.
It was though he raced a little bit fresh in the race. How much has it brought him on?
Yeah, a lot. As I say, it was a little while between runs. Obviously a new environment, a new track for the first time, but yeah, that's just topped him off nicely, and as I say, he hasn't put a foot wrong since.
Yep. You spoke about him leading into that race, that he'd settled on pretty well here at Sean Ritchie's barn. What about since? Has he done everything to please you?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Wouldn't change a thing.
Let's take you back to the Avondale Cup, and look, he was pretty good. He wanted to over-race a little bit early here, Braden Starr, but I have to say, one of the seedy ones there, Final Return Spleens, boy, he was brave.
I mean, I watched this race and I was thinking, how is this horse going forward 3 wide the trip and winning? I was like, this is an incredible performance, and they don't make up a lot of ground. It was probably more notable for the disappointments in my mind. Rajan was terrible.
No.
Just, well, got back and ran
terrible.
on a little bit.
Well, sectionals are outstanding. Like the sectionals are very good.
It's hard to see it winning off this performance.
Ooh. This is it's 800 metres different. Marajan's only won in New Zealand at 3,200 metres.
Understood.
It's run the third quickest last 600, like the fourth quickest last 400, fifth quickest last 200 of the race. It's not bad.
Well, you fired him up.
I thought it was a really good run. It was a stepping stone for 2 miles. The out and out 2 miler. I thought the run was pretty good. I thought interpretation was pretty good on the inside there as well.
Yeah, I thought there's a few. It's a tricky race, this. But I did think that Braden Starr was very good after, like you say, Pip, doing a little bit of work. Final Return, I think they moved at the right time. They did have an okay run, and then they've just worked into it. And geez, he's run so well in the north. His Counties Cup win, terrific. He was great winning that Avondale Cup. So he's a bona fide chance again if he sees it out.
And yeah, he's gone up 1 kilo from 53.5 to 54.5. Big horse, he'll carry the weight. He's got an okay draw. Maps to sort of just behind the speed.
The key is blinkers off with Braden Starr too, isn't it?
Yeah, he just over-raced a little bit last start.
Now let's take you to the other key form reference, and that is the Wellington Cup here, where Mansell Blue in the lightweight. I mean, she was very good taking this out for Lisa Letter and Go Racing. What did you make of the others in behind, Bevan?
Trav was good. He took off before acceptances, and it was a good brave effort. Whether he's going as well as last season, I'm not 100% sure. Rosso had his chance. I thought there was no real excuses outside of maybe Trav that Mansell Blue, you could make excuses that Mansell Blue had any sort of advantage because it held up at the top of the straight and still won the race. But look, Trav's done it here and been and done it. And
there was, a couple jockeys with force arm. Rosso went early, Trav went early, and you saw there the last 100 metres, they peaked on their runs. I thought both runs were really good in the race. Obviously, Trav won the race last year. Blinkers go off tongue-tie on this week.
The interesting thing from that is that Rosso now goes up 1.5 kilograms. Mansell Blue, Trav, who won this race last year, gets in on 53 and comes in 1.5 kilograms better than Rosso. Obviously, Rosso's form overall has been really good, and he looks like an out-and-out stayer. But, geez, there's a couple of those horses who, Mansell Blue's now proven at 3,200 metres, and so too is Trav, and they're coming in 1.5 kilograms better. So, yeah, they're chances.
They are. Well, you said it's a messy race, Bevan. You've got to give us one.
Maharajan. No. We won't be doing that. I'll go Trav again. We haven't seen him since, and I did wonder, I think at his peak, even with the run he had, he would have won at Trentham if he was at his very, very best there. So maybe he's just a tick under, but he's been here, done it. Big field. He loves the joint. He'll get across the top of him. He'll be somewhere in the mix, but could be one of 4 or 5. I wouldn't be counting out Mansell Blue doing it again, actually, either.
And even Paradise Storm was really good last start. Look, Marjoran, I think if you're going for a first 4, definitely put it in your first 4, Bevan. But I'm with Trav. Won the race last year, 53 kilos. Probably 11 and $3.60 short enough. Would rather sort of drift out to that sort of 20 to 1 price.
Yeah, the other horse who actually impressed me in that Avondale Cup was Son of Sun, who I thought was pretty good and not the worst chance here as well. I've gone with Braden Starr on top. I just thought it was a lovely semi-final into an Auckland Cup, and I thought he was a worthy favourite.
Okay, so that does complete our look at the features. We'll be discussing more from Ellerslie off the side of this break, as well as, of course, New Plymouth. And don't forget too, if you want to hear from those trainers, you can catch the track work form special on trackside.co.nz and the YouTube channel. Welcome back in. Before we discuss some more of the races out of Ellerslie, it's time for our black bookers. So make sure you note these ones down. Leith, well, we always start with you. What have you found?
Look, I'm going to take you back to Pukekohe last week, the first race, the 2-year-old race. But look, it was a really strong sort of field, and the Donna Logan trained Belle Rebelle. Look, her sectionals in the race. This last 600 was the second fastest on the day, and the only other one to come home faster was Glance. Look, she won this off only one trial. Look, it's great to have Donna Logan back in the country, and look, this horse is running on the 4th of April, and she's definitely one to follow.
I'm going to go with Glance, actually, for Christopher Grace. I thought this was an enormous performance at its debut. It was way back last. You can see it there in the green with the yellow sleeves. And I thought the winner was off and gone. But, gee, this horse has weaved a path, got across through the inside and got up on the line. This is at Counties on the 25th of February. So I'm not sure where it's going, this horse Glance, but it's certainly got a lot of upside and will win more than one.
Yep, really nice performance. For me, I was taken by this 2-year-old performance from Final Time. Comes down the outside, brilliant on debut. We highlighted it last week in the trials package, but you know, paid $9 even after sort of showing the trial. It was a very good win from a talented horse.
And she's big. She looks like more of a 3-year-old as well, so she's got a bright future.
Yeah, out of Final Touch too. So you know, there's so much upside there.
Beautifully bred, and I'm taking you back to Mata Mata. Solid Gold. Thought this was a really good run. It was one of the quicker races of the day, obviously being the first race there, but closed off really well. Had the best closing sectionals for the James Wellwood stable, and it actually looks to me like a bit of a strong form race too. The three in front actually have some really nice form, including the Glen Old runner from the trials leading in. So Solid Gold will be mine, and there you can see there are our black bookers. Make sure you note them down and follow them. And from there, we are going to concentrate back in on Champions Day out of Ellerslie. It's time to have a look at the newly named Dubai Classic, race number 3 on the program here, where Tomodachi is the favourite at 340, joint with the Chris Waller runner and Chika Mahito back in New Zealand since 2023, I think. Quintessa at $8, along with Ardalio and Mare of Mount Buller. Market right for you, Bevan?
I thought Quintessa was a little bit of an over in the race for myself personally on what she did fresh up in the last preparation. I know she was disappointing jumping up quickly post that, but Tomodachi's been great. Chika Mahito back in the NZ. I don't think they're far off the mark. If there's any value, it might be Quintessa.
Yeah, I think the best thing about Tomodachi, she gets barrier 2 where she can jump out and just go to sleep. This was a really good ride by Joe. Obviously, first 5 was too good in the end, but it's a good stepping stone. She gets back to a fillies and mares race where she's got 56 kilos as well. She's going to be awfully hard to beat.
No, she's been terrific in both runs. The Telegraph was a good run, and then she's run this 3rd placing at Group 1 level in a Waikato sprint, closing with the second quickest last 4 and 200, and behind, you know, probably a yard-6 sprinter at the moment, and in first 5. And you look at her record, she's 6 from 12, 2 starts at Ellerslie for a win and a minor placing. I think she's probably the horse to beat on paper and on what we've seen in that last start.
No comment for you, Bevan?
Oh, I think they've summed it all up. She's got the right slot. She's put up 2 really good performances and been very, very good. So, look, there's not a lot of negatives around Tomodachi. She's close to winning.
Okay, well, let's take you back now to the Lisa Chittick Stakes, where we do see Mary Shan come out of this race and Lux Libertas. And obviously the rain came and thought it would probably suit these 2 mares. Aidan, how did you assess it? You're on track that
Well,
day.
that's the difference. Now we're going from this heavy track to what will be a good 4, soft 5 at Ellerslie, so it's vastly superior. But both of them had done it really well in their prior starts. Lux Libertas was was good in winning the Manawatu Challenge Stakes, beat home Aratiri Molly that day. And Mary Shan's been going really well all season as well.
She never runs a bad race, does she? And I think you had to go back 2 starts ago at Ellerslie where she was unlucky on the inside. I think barrier 9, she's probably maps to probably have to go forward a little bit, so she's going to be used up a little bit out of the gate.
The map's a tricky one because there's no real speed here. One horse who will get forward is Special Secura, who was terrific here last time.
Maybe the 1400 metres might be just a little bit sharp for her at this stage in her preparation, but she'll be running on. She's a really good mare. Really, really good mare.
Well, the runner we want to have a look at now is Chica Mojito. We'll take you back to her winning last start, taking out the Lakes here for Chris Waller. Leith, how did you assess this?
Yeah, look, she was really good. Obviously, Chris has set her for this race as well. Look, she was previously trained by Ben Foote. Obviously, she's done her racing in Sydney with Chris, and look, Chris won this race last year as well. What was it called?
Conasana.
Conasana. So she sort of maps that same sort of horse. She's probably a little sort of a listed Group 2 horse in Australia, so she's going to get all chances on Saturday.
Yeah, and obviously we're getting the form through Mare of Mount Buller there as well, having run second to Chica Mojito. So, you know, he did pick out the right horse last year to do it. So, Mare of Mount Buller is a Group 3 winner of an Epona Stakes about this time last year as well. Yeah, they're in the mix, definitely.
Yeah, I haven't got much more to add. Leith is obviously close with Chris and the summation of Chica Mojito, who was pretty good here in NZ.
Yeah, won a eulogy.
Yeah, it was a good mare here in NZ.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Whether it's right into it, I'm not sure. Oh, look, I was quite happy to go with Quintessa. I'm intrigued that A. Rodley's not going with Quintessa with Opie Boston aboard. But I went back through that race she won, and they were all in there, Tom and Archie and others, etc., and she blew them off the race street. I suppose that the trick is where is she at and how well is she going, because she can be a little bit hit.
Well, the one thing about that was the Tarzina, which is obviously the best form. It was at Ellerslie, and her fresh-up record, 5 starts for 4 wins and a minor placing. So, yeah, no knock on it.
And she second-rated them, all of them that day. She really did. But
from
we
a
shall
long way
see.
back.
Look, Tomodachi's obviously got to be hard to beat. You've got to have respect for both the Chris Waller trained mares. I've gone for some value. Moxie, this is an underrated horse. Look, she's currently $19, $4.40. Ken Harrison, Lindsay Southerly. Look, she's had 7 starts on the course for 2 wins and 2 placings, so she's major overs in the race.
It's an interesting one because, you know, that same race we saw Jaffe getting no luck, El Vencedor, who went on and placed in a Group 1 next time out, so the form's okay. The winner of that race was Special Secura, who was fantastic. So, like, Special Security goes into my numbers, but I'm with Tomodachi on top of it, bringing the right sort of form lines out of a Telegraph and a Waikato Sprint.
Okay, now from that race, we're going to concentrate in on the Haunui Farm King's Plate, and leading the betting here is Sway Wednesday. It's $3 from Alabama Lass at $3.20, and then we do have Kote Antalik at $5.50 from Platinum Attack at $7.50. That's how the market's shaping up. Let's hear from Rob Wellwood. Emily caught up with him on Monday and just asked what he made of Sway Wednesday's work.
Yeah, very happy with his work. He's really gone to another level since the railway. He looks great. His work Thursday was very good, and this piece of work will just tidy him up nicely for Saturday.
Masa Hasasumi was aboard. What was the feedback?
Yeah, he was very pleased. He came back with his grin on, and yeah, it was a good day out for him because he had a few days off after the Cracker Million night, and he's been a bit fresh here this morning. So I think it's been well worth coming up and blowing the cobwebs out. And yeah, I think if he runs up to where he did at Cracker Million night, he's going to be hard to beat.
He's bringing in the super form, isn't he, out of the Group 1 railway, finishing third behind the 2 Australians, and a nice run, obviously, from question mark run, sorry, from Alabama Lass.
It was a real head scratcher. She paraded, she was a little bit hot. I noticed the tongue tie goes on this week. Obviously, she's had a nice quiet trial at Taupo. She just mapped to get a very, very soft lead in the race.
She does.
Swaney's day, he was massive this day. Barrier 9's tricky. But yeah, Alabama Lass, I don't doubt Ken and Bev Kelso. she can turn it round.
The one feeling I got out of going to track work on Tuesday morning, that there were two camps that were very confident. The James Wellwood camp, just super bullish with Wednesday. They're just really happy with the way their horse is going. You can feel the excitement when we were speaking to Robert. But also Alabama Lass, I reckon she's really turned the corner. She worked terrifically on Tuesday morning. And as you say, Lee, she gets the suck run in this race. She won it by 5 1/4 last year. She blitzed them. So I just thought she was hard to beat. The other one out of that race, Sweens, was Platinum Attack, who I thought was very good. It's just interesting to see this horse here.
Yeah, he just hasn't had any luck, has he?
Yeah.
And like, it's all been against him, this whole preparation. Like, he does need a very firm track condition. That's what really suits him, and then he can really let go. But he's been great. I know he hasn't been right up in the money, but he's been really good and just in behind them. Look, Swaney Stay's a very good horse. Alabama Lace, yeah, I'll stick with Lathan, Ken and Bev. They can turn any horse around, but it was very disappointing last year, fresh up.
All right, we'll label one for us. Who are you with?
I was with Swaney Stay in the Group 1 sprint, so I'll stick with the ship there. I thought it was a very good performance. Gate's going to be a little bit niggly for Massa, left to find the right spot, but, you know, if you look at Platinum Attack, can it turn it around on Swaney Stay? Probably not, and Alabama Lass will be there to be shot down, I'm sure.
Yeah, obviously Alabama Lass is going to get a nice, probably uncontested lead, but Swaney's Day, he never goes a bad race. He loves Ellerslie. Little like you said, he's got a little bit of a tricky gate, but I think he can win on Saturday.
Yep, but I think they're clearly the two horses, aren't they? But for me, just this is the speed map special of the day, Alabama Lass, and if she can turn up in anything like the form that she did last year, I think she wins.
Okay. Now it's time for us to have a little bit of a speed look at the rest of the races out of Ellerslie. We'll start with race number 2, the Windsor Park Stud 3-year-old, essentially a consolation here for the NZB Kiwi. Who did you like in this race, Bevan?
Compasara, I think this will be a little bit unanimous, I think, and I think the 450's a really good price to get you involved early on in the program. She's been fantastic behind Belle Cheval the last couple, and expecting her from a decent gate to be hard to beat.
Yeah, she finally gets a gate. Look, barrier 4, she's been massive probably the whole last 3 runs. Yeah, I'm happy for the $4.50 as well, Bevan.
She'd been eligible, she'd have been in the NZB Kiwi without doubt. Her run in the Uncle Remus, which is a key lead up for that, was terrific. Ran the second quickest last 200 there, and her form right through has been top notch. So, yeah, she's on top for me as well.
Sounds like you're all with her in that race?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, now let's move on to race number 1. Let's see if we can find you the winner to kick off the day nicely. This is the Ellison Park Plate, where Peerless is your very open favourite from Flanagan. Then you've got Young Jackson at $7. Steely Man clearly shows, Bevan, that this is very open.
It's very open. Good old Atmospherics in there. And he did have a heart fib at his most recent performance, so there was reasons behind a very disappointing performance. I don't think it should be at $10, but the market indicates it's very, very even.
Look, it's a good race to start the day off, isn't it? Pretty even. Look, rambling on speed, barrier 12, they're going to have to go forward a little bit. Sort of like Flanagan in the race a little bit.
Yeah, it's good last time.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Ben Thompson, he's only had 12 rides at Ellerslie, but it looks like he's been riding there for a very long time, very polished.
Yeah.
He looks very smart. He's had 2 wins in 2 places from 12 rides there, and yeah, I'm on Flanagan, race 1.
Absolutely. And another one who comes out of that Fulton family stakes, so beat home those 2 horses who've got Group 1 form, Jaffe and El Vencedor, so no knock on Flanagan. The one horse I was really taken by here was Young Jackson, whose run for 3rd in that Karapiro Classic was terrific. It was in behind Rambling On, and obviously the Derby second favourite, that's gold, but does come in 2 kilograms better than Rambling On, and did run the quickest last 8, 6 and 4 of the race. So, yeah, I was with Young Jackson. I thought it was a decent go.
I'm going to go with Atmospheric. I did actually put a phone call into Cody yesterday, and his work's been really, really good coming into it. Look, if he'd jumped away over a mile early on in his preparation last time, he would have won a couple of races. They do bounce back off a hard fib, but generally it's on a quicker backup than we'll see on a Saturday. But he's just got the ability. I think he is the class act in that particular race, in my opinion, and I'm hoping he'll run a race, but I've been burnt before on this particular horse.
He'll need a bit of speed on because he doesn't jump out that fast.
Well,
but,
Joe Cody said he's jumped out in between times, and he had no problem jumping out. And he did jump out at Trentham, albeit over ground, but that will be the key. If he jumps out, he's a chance. If not, Flanagan?
Flanagan for me, I thought it was overs. $7. Ben Thompson on Sam Logan. Be good to see her have a winner at Ellerslie as well.
Okay, maybe a same race multi there as we take you from the first now to the last race on the program out of Ellerslie, and this is the Entain NZB Insurance Pearl Series final. Mid-Ocean Open $4.20 favourite from Ellerslie at $7.50, Circus Dancer at $7.50, Sister Sugar at $8 along with a couple of others. Nice way to round out the day, Bevan.
It is, and I've been watching these L3 trials and it hasn't been let go, I know. One of them was back on the 9th of September, but they have been mucking around and behind the scenes with this horse who is 3 from 3, and I know a couple of those were on wet tracks, but the win on better ground was also very, very good. It just feels as though this horse has been set for this race.
Yeah, hopefully I'm still live in the quaddie going to the last, and you get a field like this, you're going to need the field on your ticket just about. I thought Mid-Ocean has been going really good races. Obviously won at Ellerslie before, probably been set for this race. Benji King, he's flying at the moment. Good young trainer, up and coming.
Now, I've gone for one out of the same race with you, Mid-Ocean there. I went for Sister Sugar, who chased Mid-Ocean home, but does come in half a kilogram better and has been to the trials and won since. The previous form was really good. I know it's maybe just a little bit below its best last time out. It was only a length behind Mid-Ocean. So Sister Sugar, if she can regain her best form, that's the way I went in the last.
I'm going all three. Well, they were talking about putting this horse in Group 1 company at the end of last preparation, having her throw out the stumps. Well, the last two trials, the handbrake has been firmly on. 3 kilos are coming off, so it's getting 56.5 from a good gate. She doesn't muster a lot of speed, but I think she'll be flying at them. I really do. I think she's a good near, and 750 will do me in the last.
Okay, and that does complete our look at Ellerslie on Champions Day. Hopefully we've found you plenty of winners. Now it is time to turn our attention down to the Central Districts. That means, Bevan's leading you Plymouth. What weather and track conditions will you and Stephen Hunt be getting on Saturday with our runners?
Oh, I'm surprised we're having a meeting. Les thought there was not enough runners to go forward. It's a good 4 rails in the true position. Look, it'll be in peak performance. Last time there at Ranger in the day now. And we have been knocked around on many occasions going there. I don't think it's going to be this week. I think those track conditions will prevail. It'll be a very good track for Saturday's racing.
Just a little bit light on numbers, I thought.
That's Alan Sherrick on the phone too.
Yeah. Oh, Alan's got a strong team and he'll be happy as well, but don't worry.
He's been holding on to that for the last 15 minutes. All right, let's have a look at the Open 1200 metres, race number 2 on the program, the multi-ethnic extravaganza Asia, where Basil Warrior is your favourite at $2.60, from When Stars Align at $2.70, and then Idyllic at $6. A small field, obviously, Bevan, a bit of quality though. Who do you like?
Yeah, well, he's been really good, Basil Warrior, hasn't he? At $2.60, just got caught up in that wet track last time, but the priority wins have been very, very good. Cindy's been, I would have thought Cindy would have won a race this preparation, so I went with Stars Align because it's getting in with the 54.5. It's won 2 of its last 4 by Sue Star. I think she's got a fair bit of ability, so I actually went with When Stars Align down the bottom of the book.
Look, I thought it was a pretty sort of hard race. River Plate was really good last start. Probably looks a natural leader in the race. I'm actually going to go for Basil Warrior, the Jim Collett train runner.
I don't think there's much over this field, and like you say, it's, just for a small field, you think it's very tactical. It's just about every horse has got a bit of speed on their side here, so they could, all go into
Cleat
it.
hasn't got a rider either, so there might only be 5 runners.
Wow, geez.
Go round maybe.
Yeah,
for 50,000.
I was with Bevan just for the same reasons too. That When Stars Align with Inform Apprentice Hayley Hessman taking a couple off to the 54.5. I thought there was an advantage.
Okay, now from the 1200 metres to the 2000 metre Open, race number 6 on the program. This one is the multi-ethnic extravaganza Pacifica, where Bridal Train is the favourite at $3.70. Knights Rounds had a bit of specking, 440 into 420, and then Sunset Boulevard, who was a last start winner on the quick backup, at $5.50. A bit more depth to this one here, Bevan.
Oh, if you could work out what Kevin Wise is up to, you'd probably know the winner. Sunset Boulevard's backing up from Sunday, where it was really, really good. I'm not sure Bozo will be running. There's no jockey being declared there at this stage, but she'd be right in the mix. Bridal Train was great behind Pretty Time last time. He's really proving himself to be a good horse, but I'm not really sure on this race, to be honest.
I am. I'm Bridal Train. I thought she was deserved favourite. Gets down, to sort of 52 kilos of Tony Davies' own home track horse. I'm happy with the $3.70.
Yeah, I was the same. Again, you're down to 52 kilograms for a mare of her quality, and at home, she should be really hard to beat. in this. Do you think this is like a St Ledger's sort of trial? The St Ledger's a couple of weeks away at Trentham. A lot of these will head that way, won't they?
Yeah, I'd imagine Sunset Boulevard's right in the mix for a St Ledger. We probably saw a race on Sunday that will have a lot of those runners going forward, and it was sort of Sunset Boulevard who was in the mix there, and I think it'll be in the mix again. I sort of went with it at the mile, which was a little bit silly at Oteki, and it ran a nice race and backed that up and won nicely at Trentham. 3 kilos off, he'll be right on speed, this horse. He's hard to hold, and he might set them up and be very tough to run down. He's a very good staying horse.
Okay, that's the 2 features. We need a fill-up, though, early on the card. What else are you liking?
We went into race number 1 into Oh My My. I think this also head to the Wellington Guineas post-Saturday, and it was a very good win last to start at Oteki with a couple of really strong Esprit horses in that small field, kilo off 55. It'll sit right on speed. It'll be very tough to beat at home. I thought Intention might have been the biggest stage.
There was no collusion between us, Bevan, but that's the way I went as well. The horse who's won 2 of 4, home track advantage. It was really good last time out. Again, small field and tactical, and it's got the tactical ability to be right in this. Leith, who'd you go for?
Yeah, I've Oh my first leg, race 1, but no, I'm going to go race 8. Roaring BB, Ben and Ryan Foot train runner. Look, currently $7 and $2.25 for good value in the last.
Still want to say, oh, Mama, you're taking me out. Right, let's go to Bank Builders. Aidan, have you found for us on our Bank Builders?
Yep, one we've already mentioned at Ellerslie, starting off the day in race 1. I did really like what we saw from young Jackson. All the right numbers to back it up. Ran the quickest last 800, 600, 400, second quickest last 200. And it's form around That's Gold. You know, That's Gold's going to be, you know, second favourite in the New Zealand Derby at Group 1 level. This horse is only having its 4th start and does look very well placed in the first. So happy to take the $7 as a bank builder.
Look, I'm going to go Taranika today. Pip, race 1, Shameless Star. Tony Davies on gets the 2 kilos off her back. $2. I'm happy with the $2.
It should win. It definitely should win. I'm going to also go Tohira Neko and a horse called Donatello for Ash Meadows. It's in race number 5 on the program. The price has already disappeared, but I think this horse should get the trail. Might need a little bit of luck in getting a split, but I think it's very close to winning Donatello.
Geez, that takes into 450 looking at it. It's a decent go.
Is that your money?
There we go.
No.
The all-challenging glance.
I think the trainer might have had a little investment, just to be honest with you.
Okay, some nice early bank builders, so make sure you get on quickly as we take you to a break. Our best bets off the other side.
I'm rolling with you.
Pleasure to have your company here on our form special. We're going to take you back to last week to see just how our best bets went. But before we do, let's have a look what the trainers are liking and see hopefully if they've found us plenty of winners this weekend.
I've got Flanagan in the 65 mile at Ellerslie. She's been racing some pretty good races, so should be competitive.
Well, the same combination won last year, so I think Flashback, McNabb, I think we can win the Windsor Park Consolation 1500 on Saturday night.
Oh, the obvious one's Lara Antipova, but probably Quintessa each way. She'll run well.
Hard to know. Off Swainest Day's work this morning, he's going to be pretty hard to beat.
I've gone Harvey Wilbinger 3 times in a row and we've got beaten and run second each time, so I'll stick with him. Be faithful and get your money back on Saturday.
I'll go with Just In Case this week.
Oh, crikey, only having 2 in Group 1s, it's very hard to tip them. But look, Jaffe, if she can bring that same form she did 2 weeks ago, she should be very hard to beat.
I'm going to try and do a Pam Gerard here. She got one at huge odds. So I'll have a crack with Maharajan each way.
Going to go with unbeaten mare Ellerslie, fresh up on Saturday. Work's been super, so hoping for a winning return.
Ooh, I'd like to think Sister Sugar was a good chance, yeah.
I think Roaring BB again at New Plymouth this weekend. He's worked up well since his last start, and should be a good chance.
Flanagan, Flashback in race number 2, and then Quintessa, you'd be happy with that, Bevan, thrown out there in race number 3 from Mark Walker with his team in.
Well, when they tipped that last time, but they're on the mark. Well, they were tipping it out. Sam was tipping it at a massive price. Swainest Days, they've been keen around this horse for a while. Joe Walker, Ellerslie. That might get me in the last if we're in trouble.
There's a few there that we've gone through, Leith, with Jaffe, Roaring BB that you liked, Ellerslie that you liked, Swing.
What did Sean Ritchie take there, Bevan?
Mara
There is believers in the room. Even the trainer believes.
He's a better trainer than me.
I have faith in both the trainers there, Colin and Sean, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that 2 miles is going to be much better. I just... Look, it's hard to say off that performance.
It's a lottery
he'll come and win the race. Like it's wide open, and I've got a lot of respect for it. The horse has been very good at 2 miles and is a true boost star. So, along with him was Fonga, who was way back there, and I thought he was going to run a race as well on the day after what he'd done at his previous start. But he's probably blotted his copybook a few more times than Rajan has. So, hey. But once we've said that, it'll win.
There you go. That's what the trainers are liking. From there, it's time for our best bets, brought to you by My Racehorse. And hopefully we can find you some more winners. Leith, who have you got for us?
Obviously, it's a pretty hard card to be picking winners on Saturday at Ellerslie Pip. Obviously, the short favourites in
Can't
well
make
written.
excuses already.
Lara Antipova, but I'm going to take you to the last race. Mid-Ocean, like this stage, she was super. She gets a nice draw. Benji King, he's a good young trainer on the rise, and I'm have to be on Mid-Ocean at sort of $4.20 in the last.
Yeah, good, nice price as well, Leith. Yeah, we're looking for the right sort of price as well. So I've found $3.20 for my best bet. That's in the King's Plate, and I'm going with Alabama Lass. I just thought this was the match potential. I've got real respect around Swain's Day, and I wouldn't be surprised if Swain's Day actually came out and rolled Alabama Lass. But the talk from Tuesday was that she's back, and if she brings her best form, I think from that speed map, she should be very close to winning.
I'm going to take you to a New Plymouth and Bell's Fate. This horse has been in 3 very strong rating 75s, close up behind Afternoon Siesta, fresh up. We saw that form stand up, close up behind Anderson Bridge last time, who won again on Sunday out of Trentham. Amber Adele will claim a kilo. Robbie Patterson, race number 7, Bell's Fate, on top for me.
And I'm taking you to the second out of Ellerslie, Confessara. The first 2 horses and the 4th home are all running in the NZB Kiwi. She finally gets a draw. She's paying around $4. I think she looks a lovely price there and should be winning the second. So I'll stick with the Roger James and Rob Wellwood runner. And of course, massive day at Ellerslie. Is Well Written the filly that you're most looking forward to seeing?
It certainly is. Look, she's the one we all want to be cheering on, and look, I think we're in for a big performance from her this week as well.
Yeah, everything seems primed, and she's got that star factor. I think there'll be people who turn up just to see her run, especially up to what she did Karaka Millions Day. If you watched her on TV, you want to get along and see her in the flesh. It's an interesting market, isn't it? How much does she win by? 5 lengths plus, like the Karaka Millions at 4.20. You take the 18s on the 8 lengths plus.
Well, who would put on $18 for 8 lengths? That should be 120 to 1.
Oh, I think I'd be
8 lengths. Come on, like 8 lengths at $18. It should be $180, not 8. That's just crazy odds.
Jeez, there you go.
Who put these odds up?
I reckon she could well streak them here.
What about the top 5?
You've got a direct line to the jockey.
Well, 8 lengths is a little bit over the top, and you're only getting 18 to 1. Not for me, sorry, boys.
So top 5, can we find a bit of value here at top 5? Who are you looking there?
Panther. And not just because of the name. I think $2.20, not bad at all.
War Princess is a chance to run in the top 5, I think, without any shadow of a doubt, at $4.80. I'm intrigued about this Yulong investment into our best 3-year-olds. It's been something to behold, and we're not going to talk about figures and facts and figures, but make no mistake, it's a lot of money that's been put into the pockets of New Zealanders, which is fantastic. But they've just come out and forced to buy our best, which is intriguing.
It's great. It's great for New Zealand racing. It's great to have their colours go round, and the best thing is they're getting results. It doesn't matter how much money you spend, you still got to get results, and they're getting them.
The one thing we are losing these horses, if they're buying a horse like I Hope He Wins, then it goes to Australian stable. We're going to see the same probably with That's Gold. Luckily, we've got Well Written staying with Stephen Marsh, but it's been more than a season since the last season was the first season since Group 1 racing began that there wasn't a New Zealand trained winner in Australia. Now we want those New Zealand trained winners in Australia just to keep that interest going. We've had second placings with the likes of Savagely, Alabama Lass, but we want to see the New Zealand trained horses go over there.
Yeah, but they've got the New Zealand suffix next to them. The New Zealand bred. She's by Ocean Park. I hope he wins. It could win the Caulfield Cup.
Look,
it's trained by Chris Waller now, so he's a New Zealander.
It's all economics, isn't it? It's all economics. When the figure gets to such a level, I mean, you've got to sell at some point, unless you've already got enough behind you that you don't have to worry about it. But a lot of people, like the money that we're talking about is extreme.
Well, that's gold. The owners have just about won the Derby twice without even running on Saturday. So what do? You can't say, oh, yeah, I love the horse, I want to win the Derby. Well, money over sense sometimes.
We speak about the Derby. There's actually extra markets on that race as well. There'll be a plethora of extra markets put on by the bookmakers, but this is one here. Autumn Glory, obviously top 5, $1.45. All right, Road to Paris, $1.70, okay, and obviously the runner you're liking, Swings, Luneman, $2.50. Yeah,
$2.50's fine. Can we scroll down further? Wanted to have a look what Wigmore was paying to run in the top 5.
Too quick.
Head-to-head markets out of Ellerslie in the big weight for age. Look, I don't know, I haven't got enough money to be playing to $1.45, so...
those odds are pretty skinny. They need to pull those odds out a little bit, I think.
And they're the clear top 4. There's not a lot between any of those 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought they got the market wrong on the Cuddle the other day and they ran 1 and 2. That was one of my great moments. And they pushed afternoon siesta on Sunday and they kept on coming strongly for it and they got it right on the mark. It was an impressive performance. And look, I reflect back on Wingatua the other day. Wasn't that a meeting in the Deep South? There were some really nice horses there as well. No, we come into the end of maybe all the highlight parts of the season. I think the Tiara Breeders, a Group 1, will go down, be down at Trentham, and that'll be a good race. But it's a great finale, and we've had some great racing.
I was away in Melbourne last week, but who was on the race form covered last week?
Yeah, well, I was going to talk about this, but I thought we'll just leave it alone. Witsendy's still in the stable with the lights on, but it's a step up in class.
It was because he was on the front page of the race form, I'm telling you now.
Well, you threw your ticket in the bin, didn't you?
Yeah, but surely. Yeah, that's not a problem for her to be on there this week.
Yeah.
All right, and I think we will leave it there, gentlemen. It's been fun, as always. Really looking forward to Saturday. Not just New Plymouth, Bevan, but of course, yes, Champions Day out of Ellerslie.
Yeah.
That's us. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. We hope you found you the winners and enjoy all of the action come Saturday.
This is the day every racing fan circles on the calendar. Champions Day at Ellerslie, where the very best come to prove themselves. Front and centre, the NZB Kiwi. The biggest prize in New Zealand racing. Every stride counts, every second matters, and a life-changing payday awaits. Can anyone topple New Zealand's flying filly?
Oh, have a look at New Zealand's next racing superstar, well ridden. She is a bestseller. She has absolutely bolted in.
The best horse I've ever ridden. This thing is an absolute weapon.
Then it's the timeless test of talent, a New Zealand derby. 2,400 metres of stamina, strength and sheer spirit. Legacies aren't given, they're earned.
But will he? Yes, he will. Will he do it? Wins the Trackside New Zealand Derby.
The weight for age warriors step up in the Bone Crusher New Zealand Stakes, where proven champions clash, courage and class collide, and only the toughest stand tall.
El Vencedor and Lark Creek in a head bobber. El Vencedor just got there.
And for the rising stars, the Sistema Stakes, a Group 1 proving ground for elite 2-year-olds, where tomorrow's talent takes the track and champions emerge.
Real close at the line, but I think he's just got there. Return to conquer in a photo.
Beyond the features, a program packed with power, passion and prestige. Every race carrying its own story.
Tijanus, RB and interpretation. Trav has got there.
Champions Day. Live from Ellerslie, only on Trackside.